The film series that won't die. Nearly 30 movies, one house, actually several houses, and cursed artifacts.
The Amityville Horror Podcast.
Hello again. We're back on the Amityville podcast, which none of you have written in with a name for the podcast yet, and hopefully we'll have figured one out before we get there. I'm Tom, and this is Pat.
Hey, how's it going this week?
This week, we're going to be watching Amityville 5, The Curse, or just the Amityville Curse. It seems to have a couple of different variations on the title.
Yeah, there's Amityville 1990, The Curse.
Yep.
Is another one that pops up.
Which is ironic since it came out in 76.
So
No.
So yeah, this one is the first straight-to-video Amityville horror movie. So I was going to ask if you had any particular favorite straight-to-video movies or any that really jump out at you. I'm going to
I don't, it's one of those, it's like, I'm not sure if they went directly to video or if it was just so short and when they came out, but like, there's this goofy ass action movie called Hollow Point with Tia Carrere, Donald Sutherland, and John Lithgow that is just delightful.
Nice.
And the Attic Expeditions, which I think maybe had something of a theatrical run, but I mean, it kind of, I want to say it may have been just direct to video.
Yeah,
because it was less released and more escaped.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, especially if it comes from a studio where they'll have a contractual obligation to play like one theater or two theaters.
Yeah, that counts.
Like Freaked, cult classic, but it played New York, LA with no fanfare because the studio was dumping that. Same studio, Fox, who has a problem with dumping their properties, did the same thing with Idiocracy. They purposely opened it. Yeah, they opened it in New York and LA with absolutely no commercial advertising. They had a small print ad, I think, in the weekend paper, but one theater in each city, possibly Austin because of Mike Judge, but they were openly trying to bury the movie.
Jesus.
So it's not straight to video, but it was a very quick layover.
Police
Academy 7 played two theaters.
Which one
and
is
then was dumped.
that?
Mission to Moscow.
Jesus, that's like the one I haven't seen.
You're fine.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, no, not even Ron Perlman can save it.
Is Ron? Of course, he's playing a Russian. Did Matt McCoy come back for that one, or did they have to recast? The Steve Guttenberg-esque role again?
McCoy did come back one last time as younger Lassard.
Yeah. No, Eric Lassard was George Gaines.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's your favorite straight to video? Other than all the combined works of Charles Band.
Right. Well, I know Waxwork 1 played theaters. I don't believe 2 did. I love Waxwork 2, and I think that was
a good time.
Yeah. If it did go to theaters, it was super quick. Mm-hmm. I know Fright Night 2 had a brief theatrical run, but that's a whole separate story on that.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I want to adjust my answer to all of the Subspecies movies as my favorite direct-to-video things, because I just find them delightful. I'm sorry, what you were going to say with another one?
On that, I will say, except for the first one, all of the Tremors sequels. Well, I love the series, but really, 2 and 3 are the ones that I'm going to put as favorites. The others are still fun.
2's a good time.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, these are more straight to streaming, but Child's Play 6 and 7.
Yeah. Those were really good.
Yeah. Cult of Chucky and Curse of Chucky in the opposite order.
I love how, much in the same way, Bride and Seed of Chucky had no right to be as good as they are. Mm-hmm. Cult and Curse had no right to be as good as they are.
Yeah, it's still the franchise that keeps giving, and would have probably been a better idea for a podcast.
But it's shorter. It's much shorter. I like the idea that nobody is talking about the Amityville movies, mainly as we've seen, because there's not a lot to talk about. Actually, no, I'm being a jerk.
We're getting episodes out of it.
Getting ahead.
Those of you who have made it this far in this series are, obviously finding something to listen to.
Yeah, I kind of like how we're still in a Russian roulette phase, because much to my chagrin, I have enjoyed all 4 of the movies we've watched so far, and I'm just kind of like waiting for the first real clunker, which may be tonight's. This one, ironically, it was released direct to video, and that is essentially the only physical way you can watch it. It is not on DVD. It is noted as of today, that it is the only Amityville film not on DVD. You can watch it on through Amazon Prime, or as we will be doing, through YouTube.
Yeah, there's there's discs out there. Some of them are out of print at this point. Some of them are a little bit harder to chase down, but they at least did have a release.
Yes, okay, that's a fair point. It is not. It is. There's a Region 2 DVD for.
But never in the U.S.
But
never in North America.
Never in the U.S.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I guess we're going to find out exactly how cursed this Amityville something is.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume it's not the house originally. Although
This is also the only one that doesn't have the house.
Ever.
Apparently, according to the IMDb, every other version or every other sequel at least shows the original house, at least in passing. And this is the only one that does not even use the house.
Fair. All right. So that's... I was going to say something to look forward to, but literally it's not there, so I shouldn't.
Yeah. So there's that, and the only other things were like... It's another one that purports to be based on a novel, which was kind of funny. It kind of reminded me of like the old Howling movies, where like even in like 4, 5, and 6, it's like based on the Howling : or based on the novel The Howling : this, and it's like, really, we're still making the novels, and how? I'm putting money down right now. I don't think this is going to be based on any actual novel, despite other than the title. Other than there's probably Amityville: The Curse, the novel, but this I think will have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and the Howlings, there was a Howling 2 novel that was never used for any of the movies.
Correct.
From the original writer.
Yeah.
Then 3 was the Marsupials, not a novel.
No. But 4, the original Nightmare was based on a novel.
Because it was based on the original. It was just literally a remake.
Fair. It was a different adaptation of the same novel.
Right. Gotcha.
And then 5, the one in the castle, that's basically an Agatha Christie novel with werewolves. That one's based on a novel. And I want to say The Freaks was as well.
Okay.
And then everything goes kerblooey.
Exactly. Howling 7 is not based on anything except a love of line dancing.
Yeah, it's not really a movie the way we understand movies.
It's hanging out at a country bar with lots of line dancing, and occasionally you get werewolf vision, and then a character is not around much anymore.
Ironically, or surprisingly, it does have a recurring cast member. The werewolf from 4, or no, the werewolf from 5, the Agatha Christie Castle one, is in 7.
That one was a pet project of his. He wanted to do another Howling movie, so he actually not only brought his character back, her character back. Right, it was some other characters. There were some other characters from 4 and 6, I believe, that were incorporated. It was an attempt to combine the Howling universe as one cohesive thing, but they couldn't even make a single cohesive movie. Just fill it with line dancing. Oh my fucking god! So much line dancing.
Just watch the Mystery Science Theater werewolf movie instead.
Much better.
It is much better, and we are not saying that ironically. It's more dejectedly.
Right.
The only thing that's exciting about this one that I'm looking forward to is it has 1990s Kim Coates. Tig from Sons of Anarchy, the paper guy from Waterworld, and to date, the only person who has starred in both Silent Hill and a Resident Evil.
Oh, all right.
Has only died in one.
Fair.
Yeah, Kim Coates. Kind of fun. He's probably a very nice person, but he's one of those guys that always plays just a complete reprehensible scumbag.
Let's see what he's got in store for us tonight.
Yeah. Amityville: The Curse.
1990, Part 5.
5. Yeah.
All right. See you in a few. All right, well, we have finished the movie, and so got to open with this question. Who got a good deal on a house this week?
Well, it definitely wasn't us, and it definitely wasn't the people that were in the house this week. Well, you said it was a movie, and it is the exact size and shape of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But
Images in sequence were accompanied by sound.
yeah, and they almost tell a story.
Yeah, it looks like a story. It could feel like a story to people who might be just discovering movies.
Exactly, but this is not a lot. So we have 5 people that are all buying a house together in Amityville. It is very important to note this actually isn't the Amityville house. It's not that they didn't use the model. It is just overtly not the Amityville house.
Yeah, there are lines of dialogue where it seemed like they might have been ready to use that house should it have become available. Like, especially when they're shooting at a bar, which I think they might have done before they were shooting at the house.
Could be.
They dance around it like that house is cursed.
The town is cursed. But more importantly, the town of Amityville is cursed. Which, it is Amityville, at least. Like, they do overtly say it's Amityville.
Mm-hmm. There are several signs outside of town that we see people drive by.
Yeah.
Well, one sign that they drive by repeatedly.
But it's great, because like you don't see it until the end of the movie, and then you see it 3 times in a row. It's adorable. But so, our 5 house hunters are 2 couples, Debbie and Marvin, who are at different times boring and psychic, and Frank and Abigail, who are at different times murderous and the best characters in the film. And
we are separating them between... Marvin is just the worst.
Marvin's the worst.
Debbie, they drop on the way to the house. You didn't have one of your premonitions again.
She's psychic.
Mm-hmm. And she sees the house and says, I have dreamed of this house. And not in that, oh my God, it's my dream house way.
No. It's a night. She has nightmares about the house before they even find the house, and yet somehow Marvin interprets this as a great idea to buy.
Mm-hmm. Because they're waiting for the realtors, so they haven't actually purchased it when they get there.
No, they were going to a different house.
Oh.
Remember, like when they're driving on the bridge, Marvin, it says the house is on the other side of town, and then Debbie fervently tells him to turn right here. And then go to this house, which is a cursed house.
That she has seen in her nightmares that they decide to buy. There's going to be places where we might have some of the dialogue confused because it feels like they shot everyone's part with the camera set up on them without the scripts nearby saying more or less you remember what you're supposed to say in this scene, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that even drifts into the casual banter, so it makes no sense. It's completely disconnected.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure the director considered any take where Debbie wasn't looking directly into the camera of victory.
Yeah, that is completely fair. And there were a few even still.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. This is it's not good. So that's Marvin and Debbie. They have the idea to get the house, and so they rope in couple Frank and Abigail. Frank is played by Kim Coates, doing a pretty great Jack Torrance impression in terms of just quiet. Like, it's not even like a slow progression. It's just, I'm going to start at tense, and by the end of the movie, I will be trying to murder everybody. Mm-hmm. Whereas Abigail is played by Cassandra Gava of Conan the Barbarian fame. She's the witch towards the end of the beginning of Conan that tells her where to find Thulsa Doom in exchange for, a night of, we'll call it love. And she, it's fun because she turns out to be the best character in the movie, because at first she is it seems like a ditzy kind of I'm the drinker fun person, but by the end of the movie she's like, this house is screwed, it's trying to kill us, let's get out of the house, here's the plan. And she keeps coming up with more and better plans to get out of there because she's the best.
We need to get out of here. Well, you've got a flat tire. I'm going to take the flat tire to the station to get it fixed so that we can fill the car with all of us to get the fuck out of here.
She's so good. She's so good.
She gets the entire situation. She's the first blood too in it.
Yeah.
They toast each other, and her glass shatters in her hand, and a shard is jutting out of it.
Her palm is nearly bifurcated. And
and she barely feels it, except that she asks for a pain reliever, and later on says it's still hurting, even though she said quite specifically it didn't hurt.
Yeah. Which is part of why, I immediately wrote her off between just being just kind of the out there character, and then the first one that is marked always ends up dying. But no, she escapes, which is great. I was gonna be more angry at the movie than I am angry at the movie if they killed Abigail, the best character.
Yeah.
Second best character, Billy. Confirmed bachelor Billy.
Yep. There's a scene where Abigail playfully flirts with Billy.
Because it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Billy seems like he's still putting on airs, like he hasn't come out. And they never actually say that Billy is gay, but Abigail picked up on it pretty quick. And honestly, so many things just seem to dance around it that, yeah.
Yeah. But not in a silly, cliched sort of way. Honestly, we are reading into it more than is actually in the text of the film.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's kind of there. And actually, if it is there on purpose, it's presented pretty well. He just appears to be kind of a closeted dude, but, not really there for comic relief or anything. Yeah. Or he's not there for any more comic relief than the wisecracky funny guy.
Yeah, and that's the thing, he's the single wisecracking friend, but, they never make mention of any ex-girlfriends of his or prospects or any of that. They're not trying to set him up, and if you're a single person with a couple friends, they always are trying to set you up. They don't do this at all, which means either they're shitty people, or they're actually respectful friends that aren't trying to put you in that spot all the time, but seeing how they behave on everything else, we're ruling that out.
Or they're like my friends and know the case is hopeless.
Okay. So, but whatever it takes, nobody seems to think anything odd of Billy being just...
Billy is just
comfortably single.
Yes. And so all 5 of these people buy this house, which, as it turns out, used to be the rectory of the local church and is now basically just being used as the storage room for all of the terrible things that happened at the beginning of the film, which, we skipped over.
Well, we wanted to make sure to cover the cast. We're going out of order on this one because it's the only way to make sense of it.
There's very little plot.
Yeah.
And they hide it in different sections of the movie, not for dramatic effect, just for, as near as we can tell, incompetence.
Yeah, because we have just revealed what was a end of Act 2, I guess, reveal, somewhere in the last chunk of the movie, that this house used to be the rectory for the church around the corner, which was a huge reveal had there not been establishing shots of this house several times, and at the beginning of the movie, that exact rectory. So... We know that's what it was.
And more importantly, even if we didn't know it was the rectory, we know all of the things that are being stored in this basement are involved in the murder at the beginning of the film.
Mm-hmm. So, Priest is playing his organ. And Mrs.
Moriarty.
Mrs. Moriarty.
With 2 R's!
One eye
and one eye, and then she pulls the eye out because she has one glass eye, and is just terrible.
A thing that actually happened in the movie. She walks into the room as he's playing the organ with a rat trap. She has just caught a rat. It is enormous.
It appears to be one of those Gambian rats that they used for Big Ben in the Willard remake. It is less a rat and more a small cat. Mm-hmm. That is out of a standard issue mousetrap.
Yeah. The fact that this mousetrap didn't just kind of annoy the rat is amazing. So it must have caught him at a good angle.
Yes.
She asks if rats have souls, and then reminds him.
Did.
Yeah. reminds him that he has confession now. So he leaves the rectory, wanders over to the church in the middle of the night.
As like you do.
Yeah.
It may have been midnight mass.
It may have been, but there was literally nobody else in the church. He wanders over, gets in the confessional. One person comes in.
Bars the door.
We hear a bunch of kerfuffle, and then a gunshot, and the bullet rips through the other side of the confessional.
Yep.
They carry the confessional out of the church. They carry the organ out of the church. Some other accoutrement. They shut the church down.
Yeah.
And we cut to 12 years later.
Title card. 12 years later, where we meet Debbie and Marv, who we have talked about as much as they need to be talked about in terms of personality.
Fair enough. I would say Marv is, through the entire movie, a skeptic. He doesn't believe anything that is happening to anybody. In one scene, Abigail sees the blood in the tub. Is that scene? Or no, that might be later.
No, that's later.
All right, but she's painting the house. Marvin does nothing.
No.
Everybody else is painting and cleaning and sawing and nailing. Even things, Billy at one point has a nail gun and is nailing a hole in the floor.
Yeah. In an attempt to repair the hole in the floor.
But not like nailing something above the hole. He's just where the wood is rotted. He's just kind of shooting nails into that.
Which is there to set up the nail gun. And I have to give this movie credit because it is an ongoing pet peeve in films of mine. They actually use the nail gun correctly. Like, they of course end up using it like a gun, but they show them disengaging the safety mechanism to actually allow that to happen. And most movies ignore that entirely. So this and Cassandra Gava are literally the only things I like about this movie.
Fair enough. Billy's fixing things with a nail gun. Abigail is painting the one room.
And or cleaning it. And Debbie is using solvent to strip old paint.
Frank which she's is warned to be careful
being
about.
Moody.
Yeah, Frank's outside being moody.
In his defense, there is a spectral hellhound that is giving him shit.
Yeah. So he's being growled at while he is chain smoking, which he does through the entire film.
And Patrick didn't take even one cigarette break like a champ.
Yeah, I was watching Frank smoke. I'm like, no. I know who my influences are. All at once, all of the doors are slamming, all of the cabinets are opening and closing. Abigail's hand starts gushing blood. Yep. All hell breaks loose, and everybody sees it except Marvin, who is now trying to explain away, oh, you're just imagining things. All four of you at once with the same shit going on. Clearly are just imagining things. There's got to be another explanation. He offers none. He doesn't say it could be an earthquake. He doesn't say it could be. He thinks a breeze may have blown through the basement and ripped open somebody's hand and thrown every door in the house open and closed multiple times.
It is, for being presented as some sort of psychiatrist or therapist character, his solutions are not only unscientific, but more importantly, they are undemocratic. Because
he's a shitty listener.
He's so bad. Yeah. And yet his taste in sweaters is nigh impeccable.
I'm not with you on the sweaters, but I'm not a sweater guy. But
I'm not a sweater guy, but they were good-looking sweaters.
Fair. I just couldn't get my eyes off the fact that one of his fashion statements was to wear a button-up shirt underneath the sweater,
which is a good look in general,
untucked and sticking out like he just got finished with photo day at school and had to untuck it ASAP.
It's just terrible.
Which wouldn't even be the worst part of his outfit, because he wears a scarf, a thin scarf, not like
it's either a scarf or an ascot.
Yeah, but like thin fabric, not like a thick puffy scarf.
No.
He wears that around his neck,
under the sweater,
and it sticks up. It's over the shirt collar, under the sweater, just this puffy scarf. Collar.
It is a look. It is just not a good look.
No.
But the sweater itself, I think, like, is blameless. I think the sweater itself was good.
Huh.
But he doesn't know. He doesn't understand, and he doesn't give a shit.
Not even remotely. He doesn't give a shit about anything. He doesn't give a shit about his wife having night terrors or the house being weird. He doesn't care about his friend having her hand cut open. He doesn't care about literally any of it. He just wants his house to be fixed up, and he's going to let all of these people do it while he stands around and videotapes it.
It's like he couldn't afford to buy the house on his own, and he's not putting in any sweat equity. Listeners at home, if you dare to watch this movie, which, on that note, the YouTube copies are not great. We rented the film for $1.99 on the Amazon app because Amazon knows they have you because it's not on any other sort of media.
Yeah, the YouTubes, just so you know, the YouTube versions,
Not great.
one of them was pan and scan, or it was full frame.
Yeah.
But it had YouTube generated subtitles.
Both had very poor sound.
Yeah, both had poor sound. The YouTube generated subtitles were pulling the sound and trying to approximate. The other one was letterboxed, but did not have any subtitles, and there's a lot of whispering.
Yeah.
So, a lot of whispering, a lot of mumbling, and the sound wasn't great, so...
Yeah, so Marv's just watching. If you watch this movie, if you can tell me what, if anything, he contributes to other than completely unjustified tood, I don't get it.
Yeah, he is a completely worthless character. He advances nothing. He doesn't reflect any of the characters. They could all bounce all of this back and forth with each other without him there whatsoever. He is there.
Unchanged movie.
Yeah. He is there to do nothing through the movie and even pretty much dies a completely worthless death.
Yeah, but at least he dies.
Yeah.
Like, that was one of the things. So, like, towards the beginning of the movie, like, once they all show up at the house, we have, like, a standard slasher movie intro to the group and the group dynamic, except that you don't have an intro to the group dynamic. They're all eating Chinese food in the living room, and they all seem to be having separate conversations. Not as in, like, they're paired off with different people. They're having separate conversations with themselves all at the same time.
Yeah.
None of it is connecting, and all of it seems like all of them have borderline personality disorders.
Yeah. And we're not getting names out of them. We're not getting, like, backstory. We're just getting banter.
We barely even understand who they are in relation to themselves. Like, we know that they are friends, despite the fact that none of them act friendly to each other. But we don't know where they met, don't know why they're friendly to each other, other than Debbie and Marv being married, which at this point I don't think they've really given their names and or confirmed that they were married. You don't know anything.
Yeah, Frank and Abigail are a couple. Billy is somebody else they know.
Yeah.
We don't know if Frank and Abigail are married or not. I don't think.
It's vague.
Frank, I think, was mentioned. There was a brief mention.
You do see a wedding picture of Frank and Abigail.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there is mention when Marvin and Debbie show up at the house that he's going to check with a friend of his who's a lawyer to help with the signing. But I don't know if we actually find out that it's for sure Frank.
Yeah, we don't know that's Frank.
But it doesn't really matter because he doesn't talk about anything lawyerly. He's just helping fix the place up by standing outside smoking while his wife paints.
Yeah. Frank is revealed to have a mysterious past. And when I say is revealed, I mean basically looks at the camera and says, I don't remember my past. This movie is garbage.
And I would rather not talk about it.
I don't want to talk about the thing I don't even remember.
It's when we know we've spoiled the ending. It pretty much telegraphs it from moment one that Frank ain't right.
Frank's the guy.
Yeah. Now, little clues are dropped here and there. The priest had a book that he kept.
Little baby picture.
Yeah, he kept a baby picture, some notes, some letters, and such.
It turns out the priest had a mysterious past as well.
Now, in in that stuff, there's a photograph of a little baby marked 111 or 11-1. I think 11-1. Because
Mystery.
Debbie
Something has to be interesting in this movie.
Debbie has a fever dream and wakes up.
The first of 3.
Yep. She starts writing in like hard scrawl pencil, "Forgive me, 111."
Yeah.
And she's saying it out loud, so you know that it's 111 that she's saying.
Yeah. But you don't know what 111 means yet.
Yep. Then she's in the bathroom and she sees 111 appear on the mirror.
Yes.
Then she finds this baby photo and 11/1 is on the back.
Aha.
November 11th, of course.
Of course it was. Debbie is not a great actress.
No. Because she says it like she thinks she is supposed to understand what that means as much as...
No.
We find out the priest had a child.
Yep.
And it is Frank.
It is
and
Frank.
He abandoned the child, and Frank went
He
to
abandoned
church.
his boy! Sorry. Not sorry.
Frank kills the priest because it's his absentee father, and all of the supernatural stuff that's been happening in the house the whole time is apparently the priest?
Maybe he is the priest. It is remarkable because on its face, this movie is a guy going nuts and then eventually becoming a rampaging murderer. And the supernatural aspects, the things, the door slamming, the things being moved, the visions of blood and violence, and the spider have nothing to do with anything. The only spirit that is potentially haunting the house, which again is not the Amityville house, is the priest's spirit.
Yeah, and there's a cool effect when somebody's in the basement approaching the confessional, which is still down there, by the way.
The one he died in.
Yeah. And a face and hands are bubbling out the front of it, kind of Elm Street, Freddy in the Wall style.
Exactly. And it really is very quiet. They don't ruin it with a noise or anything. It's just all of a sudden, if you're paying attention, oh my God, there's a face and hands.
Mm-hmm. And behind a little bit of a veil of smoke or a mist in the air.
Sure.
I can't remember who it was that saw it that time because multiple people go down to the basement and see this thing and get bad woogies.
Yeah, Debbie saw it. Debbie was the face coming out of the confessional. Billy goes down there later and almost gets trapped in the storage room. That's it. And then later, Frank lights every candle in the basement storage room and makes it really nice and really special. Not for Marvin, who he's about to shoot in the face, but for us, the audience. Because we wanted Marvin dead even more than anybody.
Mm-hmm. It was a ceremony. It was sacrificial.
It was beautiful.
Another person who dies in that basement is...
Mrs. Moriarty!
Now, she's a quirky character that we haven't hard dove in on. She has the glass eye. She is... that community theater actress who's just going for it.
It's like, what if the church lady was also the head of the Amdrams?
Yeah. It's just... Over the Top is... The movie Over the Top is not as over the top as this. I was an easy joke. I'm sorry.
Just shut your mouth. You don't say anything bad about Over the Top. Over the Top is over everything.
Fair. But no, she is playing to the back rows of another stadium.
And she's supposed to be the most expository of the characters. She is the best source of information for our 5 budding homeowners, and she just comes in and does she's purposely being more mysterious than she needs to be. Mm-hmm. She helps no one. She warns no one. She makes sure to scare the shit out of Debbie, but gives her no practical information that will help her. And then she gets pushed down the stairs.
Yeah.
And
by a human hand. Again, reminding us that, it's not really a ghost thing.
It's not it would be fun if with the ghost they could have done a variation instead of get out, they have the ghost saying get away.
Right.
Trying to warn them that Frank is going to go nuts and kill them.
Well, that would have just been clever.
I mean,
yeah. And she sees Frank.
It's you.
It's you. She
At least
recognizes
she didn't
him.
say j'accuse.
True. I don't know if she managed to see him the night that the priest was murdered and just never reported him.
He does run by her in the flashback prologue. According to the police detective, she basically named the local village idiot, and the village idiot ended up killing himself out of like fear.
Yeah, he hung himself the day after he was arrested in the tree outside, which means they didn't hold him.
Maybe he is the thing haunting the house.
Well, you see his ghost several times.
Outside.
There's always a ghost outside, just kind of standing there. Sometimes with the demon dog, sometimes not. And the dog only goes after Frank. So
The house
there's all that to unpack if you want.
To the confessional, so it's like, yeah, it's got to be the priest. It's got
to be the priest. Even though there is this other ghost that we absolutely do see several times with a dog.
We're making this movie sound so much better than it actually is.
Yeah, but we're powering through it and going in a different order.
True.
Because, okay, so...
Quentin Tarantino should remake this movie. Or somebody that wants to make a really non-linear hodgepodge of the thing. Yeah.
If somebody wants to play around with this, there's material, I guess, to work with.
Sure.
So... she gets killed. She says, it's you, which if she pointed to the wrong guy when it happened, I'm assuming this means she now and not then recognizes this grown man from when he was a baby.
Or at least 12 years. Oh, yeah.
No, from a baby, because it was 12 years since the murder, but like...
But she wouldn't, if she hadn't recognized him then she's going off of the picture.
And we are told at the beginning of the movie, gotta help the new parishioners, which means she wasn't even around for whenever this guy, priest...
No, he's new. The priest is new.
The priest is new, which means...
It didn't imply that she was new.
If he's new to the parish, he's probably new to her.
Fair, yeah.
It would imply that.
Yeah.
He's new to the parish, and she's...
Oh, yeah, Frank is not local to Amityville.
Right. Nor, apparently, was the priest at the time. He had relocated,
You could
possibly
tell by the
multiple
accents.
times.
But maybe.
But... So she didn't even ever see this baby personally. She just knows this photograph, if she's been snooping, that's how she recognized this adult who was about to push her down the steps. That doesn't add up.
No. None of this movie adds up.
No.
But luckily, there's not really a lot of, like, gore or jump scares or real special effects. Like, this movie... To the extent that you're interested in it, it's like a wheel rolling down a road that is almost about to like lose its momentum and topple over, and then something gives it a nudge so it keeps going a little bit longer, but with no real energy or drive, and it's just really annoying until you get to the end. Once Frank goes completely berserk, we have a lot of fun bits.
Yeah, once we've revealed that Frank is absolutely the villain and that he has come here to help his friend Hook fix up a house that happens to be the house right next to where he killed his father 12 years ago. That level of coincidence is a bit much.
Is it possible that the movie is just being too subtle in terms of like the Amityville franchise aspects of it? Maybe the house is working on him to an extent.
Maybe it summoned the couple so that they would come in to lure Frank into the house for a revenge plot.
Could be.
That would have been an interesting thing to explore.
If they even implied it for a second.
Exactly. So yeah, Frank is now full evil. And he's going after everyone.
He's somehow talking even less and smoking more.
Yeah, and we get the big reveal when he kills Marvin, if, again, you were unsure whatsoever.
Cannot understate how satisfying that was.
Yeah. And it wasn't even really a good death as far as a horror movie is concerned, but it was just good. We don't have to deal with Marvin anymore.
F that guy.
then Debbie finds Marvin and is pleading with his corpse as Frank reveals himself from the other half of the confessional, and she throws some of that solution in his face that she had been warned about.
Yep.
So he's now got half melting man on one side of his face.
It kind of reminded me of the bit in Gremlins 2 when they're in the lab and it's like the one jar is marked acid, don't throw in face. Mm-hmm. And she threw it in the face.
Yep.
And so you get like a really... honestly, the look of half-melted Frank is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, for a movie that has had very little in terms of gore or violence or monstery things, he is an effective looking, kind of two-facey looking guy at this point.
For what they've given us so far, I will not even come close to saying it stacks up against the effects in 2.
No, nothing. No, this is not even as good as 4.
Yeah.
Forehead. Oh man. 4 was a delightful mess.
So Frank is now doing the Jason Voorhees where he's getting beaten up and hurt chunk at a time. He gets hit with a nail gun again with the safety engaged.
There's a really effective gross out bit where his hand is caught in a door and Debbie is crushing the hand and he is desperately trying to pull the hand out and he ends up skinning his own hand.
Yeah, he degloves himself.
Uncomfortable.
And then goes upside. Oh, well, with the hand, he goes upstairs and finds the gauze wrap that his wife had been using and wraps it around his hand in a gesture that could be seen as thematic if somebody understood how to do something like that.
Yep. Not this movie.
No. But I'm sure somebody on set thought, this is clever. I like that.
This could be imagery.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So.
But the big winner is when Debbie throws one of the buzzsaw blades directly into his kneecap. And, man, it just thunks in there. And, oh, God, both Pat and me just jumped and screamed. It was just terrible.
It was just such a lovely thunk as it hit. And just the way it's jutting out. And I mean, she got him with the Gremlins 2, then she hit him with the Gremlins 1.
Yeah. Ugh.
And he starts screaming and then he pulls it out and blood's running down over his boots.
Somehow I'm bleeding to death.
Yep. Now those boots had been shown in a video when he killed Mrs. What's her name?
Moriarty.
I'm just not going to remember it.
It's kind of a famous name.
Oh, I know. I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan. I kind of am refusing, I think.
Fair.
So when she was pushed down the steps, she bumped into the video camera that Marvin had been using, and it starts recording. So the cops wind up when they find her body. Marvin realizes the tape is fully played through. So the cops take the tape back to the precinct, watch it, and they see the boots, and they race over to the house because I guess they recognize the boots?
Yeah.
Or
they were for less city folk, the booths were kind of distinctive, and there's only 5 people in the house in addition to the murder victim.
Yeah.
So, but this is the most energy and concern the police have shown throughout the entire film. They're doing when they're investigating Mrs. Moriarty's death. The give a shit attitude just radiates off of our lead cop who never takes off his fedora.
Nope.
Regardless of whether or not he's indoors.
Well, he's got to look like a cop.
He's an uncouth bastard.
So the cops are now racing to the house.
Yeah. As is Abby on the scooter with the newly inflated tire.
She's got the tire strapped to it for the car. As she's riding through town, the music kind of sounds a little Wizard of Ozzy as she's on her bike.
It shouldn't be as funny as it is, and it's just because honestly, it's one of the few moments where it's like, yes, Abby, go do it. You're gonna save everybody that's left. Oh, also Billy was killed off screen.
Yeah.
And Debbie finds the body, and they never really even explain or show what did him in. He's just dead.
She finds him and he's
dead.
not moving, and she says, "Oh God, oh Billy," or something like that. But yeah, it's not clear.
Yeah, because kill your gays. It's a trope.
It is, especially in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So Abigail gets to the house first and sees Frank laying on the floor, bloodied because he's been gunned down by the nail gun.
Yep.
His face has been half melted.
Buzzsaw to the knee.
Buzzsaw to the knee, arrow to the knee.
And Abby has the best, most appropriate reaction when she sees Debbie is bloodied from all of this. What did you do? Mm-hmm. And everything's about to go really horrible for Debbie when Frank, of course, springs to life and tries to choke his wife to death.
Yeah. Taking away any ambiguous ending or any sort of,
It really could have. It
could have done something.
Fun. It could have been like this
could have
fun
at least
thing.
explored it for a minute or two.
Where it's just like the final girl is blamed because obviously it's her. She's the only one left alive.
You could have played two final girls against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My money's on Abby.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She was competent.
She was so confident. Debbie is psychic. She can't see the forest for the trees.
Nope. So, Frank attacks Abigail, and she manages... she's getting choked on the floor.
Yeah.
So, Debbie, quick thinking...
Oh, my God.
Instead of hitting him with the back of the nail gun or anything else in the kitchen. They're in the kitchen. Now, kitchen is full of things such as...
Pots and pans, knives,
toaster,
everything.
Microwave.
Have we learned
chair.
nothing from Kevin McAllister?
So instead, she runs all the way down to the basement to get a metal staff
that was used to pin the priest or to trap the priest in the confessional 12 years earlier. Mm-hmm. And stabs Frank through the through the thorax.
Yeah,
because this could be symbolic. Like this could be like a bookended, like an imagery thing.
Because he used it then, and it's kind of like,
and that's the thing that ends up killing him. Mm-hmm. This movie's. And then once everybody's out of the house, the house decides to do like a ghost, like this completely half-hearted. The ghost is destroying everything.
Yeah, but not even destroying everything. Like just kind of remember in Real Genius when the popcorn's shooting out of the house at the end.
Yeah,
it looked sort of like that, but only at night and backlit.
And no Tears for Fears.
Yeah,
and lame.
Yeah, all of the worst versions of somebody trying to do that.
Yeah. And so as Abby and Debbie are led away from the house, the camera pulls back to the wide shot of the police dealing with everything. And then if you notice in the background, the two central windows in the attic start glowing as if they're eyes in the new Amity house. But
in case that's too creepy for you, they also lit up the living room windows to, reasons.
This is the first boring one.
Yeah, this was... We hope to make these entertaining for you. We hope to find these little nuggets to explore, and occasionally reference better movies. If it's a fun one, we'll tell you.
Yeah,
this is not,
and it's like it's just so untenable in terms of what kind of a movie it is. Like, you can't say it's obviously not good. It's not so bad it's good. It's not so bad it's bad. Yeah. It's just, this just feels like an attempt to just like, hey, we can use the name. Let's just throw something together. Mm-hmm. And this is what it was.
Yeah.
You will forget it by tomorrow.
It never goes far enough to try and actually scare you. It never tries... Like, the mystery, they tell you too much early on.
Yeah.
Every major reveal is spoiled before somebody says it out loud.
No.
And as far as the scares go, one of the early scenes, Debbie is crawling around looking for something, and a cat runs through the scene, because the cat jump is a thing you do in horror movies, but normally the cat jumps in the screen and the audience jumps with the character. She jumps back and says, "Oh," as the cat then runs through the frame. Like the cat hadn't jumped at her, and so the scare was...
It was the best take they had, Patrick.
She didn't look at the camera, and honestly, the cat was on its marks more than her, so... It did all of the things wrong.
Yes.
It
had a few of the tropes, like we had like the water turning into blood. Mm-hmm. We had like things breaking. This movie or this house was like one of the key ways we knew this wasn't really even pretending to be the Amityville house was that there were crucifixes in every single room, and none of them were like spontaneously exploding or swinging upside down or anything.
One of them sort of rattled.
Yeah. And which made it even weirder, a movie moment when Mrs. Moriarty like makes a big deal. I've brought something to help you, and it's a crucifix. And it's like there's 5 of them behind you on the wall.
Yeah,
who cares? Like in a better movie, that could be like an interesting thing about how the ghost is a priest, so it's not going to be offended by a crucifix. But that is not this movie. Yeah, it wasn't even scary. Like, you're right, they didn't even try to scare you at any point. And because of the supernatural stuff is so tacked on, it acts as a detriment to the movie instead of enhancing it. Like, because at the end of the day, this movie is about a guy that was crazy going crazier in this house and going on a murderous rampage. The supernatural aspect, like the priest's ghost never gets revenge on Frank or even tries.
No, I think he was...
The hanging boy tries to go after Frank more.
Yeah.
And that's not anything. Like the hellhound is not anything. It's just...
And Debbie was possessed, I guess, by the priest saying, "Forgive me."
Maybe. Or no, I think he was possessed. She was being... the forgive me was the hanging boy or maybe Frank.
Well, I think it was...
no,
Frank can't possess her.
No, you're right. Because the priest was sorry because he abandoned his boy,
and because he gave the birth date.
Yeah. You're right.
But that's like the most is forgive me. Here's some numbers. That's not a lot to work with, and if you're doing possession, you could probably you could push a little more information out.
Yeah.
You could throw the book with all the information at somebody. Because books are thrown at people.
The book, doesn't it get knocked over at some point? And that's how she finds the pictures and stuff?
I think eventually, but it throws a lot of other books at her first. And throwing copies of, Great Gatsby or
wait, the green light is Frank?
Might as well be. It would make just as much sense.
Yeah, this was no fun. The resale value for this Amityville house was very low for me.
Very low. It is cursed. Get out.
Go back and watch 2 or 3 or 4. And or 1. 1 is okay. 1 is definitely better than this.
Right now, we're just saying this is bottom of the list.
Yeah. What do we got next? Is next Dollhouse or About Time?
It's About Time.
It's About
Amityville,
Time.
1992.
Yeah. It's About Time. So, yeah, Sharknado, you stole that from the Amityville movies.
Mm-hmm. But this one literally is about... Well, that one was too. It was time travel, wasn't it?
Yep.
This one is about a cursed clock.
Sharknado, man. Sharknado is so much fun. But yeah, this one's about the next one's going to be about a cursed clock. This one, number 5, clearly did not capture the cultural zeitgeist. So let's go back to number 4 with that idea.
Mm-hmm. And as we're moving forward... there is a prime continuity in that there is no continuity between any of these.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the Amityville cinematic universe too much.
Yeah, but
still more coherent than the DC cinematic universe.
Some people have started classifying these as Haunted House Amityville and Cursed Item Amityville. We've already experienced some Cursed Item, and next week will be another Cursed Item one. Apparently, the Cursed Item thing, there's like at least 6 or 7 of them.
Awesome.
Yeah, Amityville-less Amityville movies.
Yeah.
And we got one that didn't have a cursed item or the house. It was just in the neighborhood.
The town, like, there are people in a bar that Marvin is talking to that just kind of suggests, there's weird stuff that happened in this town. That happens in this town. A la, like, Castle Rock or something.
Yeah, this town is cursed because 12 years ago there was this thing. Then
12 years before that, there was this other thing.
Yeah, like 2 events in a town that size. Heaven forbid.
I do like how when the detective is packing up the evidence, he complains to like one of the other police just when the tourists were coming back to this town.
They were not.
Yeah, apparently.
They were only coming to your town because they thought it was Amity Beach.
Yeah.
And 4th of July was coming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or murder tours started in Amityville. Which, if there's this many murders happening, maybe they have murder tours in Amityville.
And there are and have been for years, well, since the original incident, people doing tourism around the original Amityville house. So, yeah, like the tourism probably picked up because there was talk of another Amityville.
Yeah. Ugh.
All right.
Vultures.
Well, let's see what happens next week.
Yes, with Stephen Mocht of Graveyard Shift and Monster Squad fame.
Nice.
I'm excited about that.
And directed by Tony Randall. Not that one.
The other one.
The other one.
The horror movie one.
Right.
We like him.
Hellraiser 3. No, 3 was Tony Hickok's.
Ah, you're right.
2.
You're right. 2. Yeah,
2.
it was
Right.
Because 4 was Kevin Yeager.
Oh, that's right.
Before he, correctly took his name off of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an Alan Smithy. I think that's... I have the poster. Yeah. Anyway, we'll watch some other movies in between then, and we recommend you do the same.
Yeah.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Bye. If you want to interact with us online, you can check us out on Instagram or Twitter at Amityville Show, or you can send us an email at podcastamityville@gmail.com.